So I'm Dakota Collins. I'm the Director of Community Relations and Revitalize Richmond here at Earlham.
My name's Roxy Deer. I am a lifelong Richmond resident.
So I'm originally from Richmond. I grew up going through the RCS public school system. And so I did eventually come here to do my undergrad work and continue to maintain my community connections, and lived at home while commuting to Earlham to take a lot of classes and building a separate community here. And I think that's why doing Revitalize Richmond and this community relations work is so exciting and important and empowering to me. It's because it's bringing two of my core communities even closer together.
I've worked in various different industries throughout my career, but landing as executive director at Richmond Neighborhood Restoration, or R&R, has really been kind of the exciting thing about kind of taking my passion of changing this community and putting it into the real work.
So the Lilly Endowment released this funding opportunity spring of 2023 to all four-year colleges and universities across Indiana. From Earlham, we knew very early on this is something we wanted to engage in. Like, this was a massive generational opportunity for both the college and the community. We couldn't let it pass by. But we're educators, not community development people, right? So we brought together a community-based steering committee. It included the City of Richmond, the Wayne County Foundation and their community development arm, Forward Wayne County. It included the Economic Development Corporation and Reed Health as the largest employer, in addition to Earlham representatives. By the end of the summer, really beginning of August, we had an idea, a pretty solid idea of what we wanted the projects to be within this. And so then we spent from August to September writing.
And the grant just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And but the passion kept getting bigger too, and the excitement about it kept getting bigger, and the people around the table were getting more animated about it.
We spent a month just trying to put this document together to make the most compelling case to the funder, while putting in just enough details to make it make sense while reserving space, because we had limited space too. And then September 1st, we submitted it to the endowment. And then we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited, all the way to December 15th, I think, is when we got the official notice from the endowment that we had been fully funded. And the grant started that January.
Hearing that we received it was just absolutely like shocking, kind of like take your breath away moment. I don't know, it felt like coming up for air for the first time.
Revitalize Richmond is all about identifying and building mutually beneficial projects for both the Richmond and the Earlham communities. So in going out and trying to figure out what really fit the mold, both our needs, Richmond's needs, and the funders' needs, we landed on downtown development. And when we finally brought the proposal together, it all came through three pillars of activate, build, and connect. So activate is really about how we bring people downtown and why they come downtown. We're working with a couple of Earlham grads, Eric and Becky Dimmick Eastman, that are trying to start a makerspace on the corner of 10th and Main. So we're supporting that. That brings a ton of people downtown. We look at what sorts of events that we can do or support to just help change people's habits about wanting to be in this area. These are the things that really build out the activate pillar. It's what makes downtown look and feel vibrant. Build is where we really get into our historic architecture, saving buildings, and sort of doing some adaptive reuse so that we have residential units on the upper floors and renovated commercial units down below.
So that adaptive reuse is critical. So let's think about the Reedmore. That was, for generations, I think everyone thought, oh, I'd love to buy that building and do something with it. But that project needed a lot of work, and all of these buildings do. We've had so many funny stories. You know, once the building was completed, we really spent a lot of time in there. And people driving by and staring up at the building, looking at it and running the red light. We've seen so many people just get so excited. They'll walk up and they'll press their faces like kids in a candy store to see the inside of the building. I think a lot of people go, well, you didn't actually preserve history because it's so modern now on the inside. So while the inside is not historically significant anymore, the building is still there, and that's important. The Read More really brought out like a excitement and an energy. The night of the open house, seeing 260 some people just celebrate the rebirth of that building. It brings tears to my eyes to talk about it, because it also brought hope. For so long we thought, you can't do anything with these buildings. And then we showed them, yes, you can, and they can be fantastic.
But how do we get people to and around downtown, especially from campus? This is really where we're leaning into the campus piece, and that's the final pillar, connect. This includes enhancements to public transportation, and particularly the introduction of a new multi-use path. We've got the loop that goes around the downtown and the Depot District, but the one that leads west stops at the entrance to the Whitewater Gorge at Star Jeanette Plaza. What we heard from students during our listening process is that they would go downtown more frequently if two things existed. One, if there were fun and exciting things to do, which we're trying to tackle and activate, but two, if it was safe and easy to get there. So for students and West Side residents, whether you want to connect to any of those amenities, campus, the park, or downtown, you'll basically have a dedicated trail to do it.
Just being downtown, I'm someone who's downtown every single day. Just this past weekend, I had a group of 12-year-olds in my car, and we were driving down Main Street, and we were passing Tabletop Adventures, and I said, well, that's our building. That's the next building we're gonna restore. And they said, we could live there, and then we could help you make this place better. And I said, well, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to make Richmond better? Well, we want people to live here. It's a great place to live. And to hear 12-year-olds, that's a big deal.
I think what people can currently expect is some new businesses popping up and some construction. Maybe not construction that fully closes roads for months on end, but you'll see a lot more cranes and scissor lifts and dumpsters all around downtown. It will take up parking and it'll be frustrating at times, but these are the signs of momentum that we need.
So I think about that a lot. What does 2028 look like? And there's this great picture of Main Street with like a sunset in the background. It's gorgeous. And I think about, I want a story for every building. We redid that one, and now look what's in there. We've now put 15 people downtown, 25 people in one building. We've got the Read More that's filled, and you can go down on a Saturday night and get a cocktail, and people are walking their dogs out there. They've got their kids down there. It's just a place where people feel safe, they feel welcome, they feel loved, they feel like they're part of something, they feel like they're in a community that is growing and thriving. For me personally, it's about the pride. I want to be able to drive down Main Street in 5 years and go, done, 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 done. Oh, I did that one, I did that one, I did that one. There's some ownership in this. I love to call my grandma and be like, did you see the new color on Read More? Did you see the new windows go up? Because I'm proud of the work that we're doing, so I want to share it with the world.
What I want is that when we've got somebody living in town, whether they live downtown or not, and they have a friend or a family member come visit them, they say, well, let's go downtown. Let's go to this neighborhood. I want to show off my community to these people that are visiting me. And on the other side, I want people, if they move back to Richmond for whatever reason, to be closer to family, just to come home, I want them to be excited to come back. If an Earlham grad graduated and then left town and they decide to come back for a job or whatever it is, I want it to be exciting. And I want it to feel like they're coming home.
Everyone has a place in their community. Everyone has a responsibility to care for their community. And so I hope everyone, no matter what generation they are, finds a space where they belong and makes it better.